Hi everyone, I'm Mark Murray and welcome to this edition of CityVision. My guest today officially took over as Chief of Police in March 2012, and I asked him to come by today to share his vision for the department. Chief of Police Scott Scrimizzi, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you.
All right, the last time you were on the show was back in June of 2011 when you were just a lieutenant and in charge of, I dare say, one of the finest SWAT teams in the nation. How's it feel to be chief of the department?
It's extremely challenging, to say the least. It's a huge responsibility. As more time in grade, it seems to be getting a little bit easier. I don't think it'll ever be a cakewalk, but it's making the jump from lieutenant to chief was a big jump. Not when we lost the chief and both captains' positions, then it opened up to lieutenants, and I think that there was a learning curve there probably in the captain's position, since somebody like me came from the operations side and had limited experience on the admin side. Probably would have been nice to have spent some time as a captain, but getting thrown into it was extremely challenging.
But you know, you've always been a team player, though.
Yeah, I like to lead as a team player. I don't have any problem making a decision, but it's nice when everyone's on board, and sometimes you can do that, sometimes you can't. I think what I've tried to do is look at what's best for the organization, what's best for the officer, and if you can make your decisions based on those types of things and not get to the point where it's bad for the organization, I think as long as you stay away from that, you're okay, because there have been a ton of decisions that have had to been made in the last year.
Yeah, well, we'll get to some of that. For those of you, or for those who may not know you all that well or familiar with how you came up through the ranks, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I've been on 29 years. I spent about 6 years on patrol. During that time, about half of that time I spent on a directed patrol unit. We no longer have, but great concept that we'd like to get back to. I spent 4 years in the Detective Bureau, 4 very busy years, probably the busiest years in the last 30 that we've had for violent crime, so I got a lot of experience there. I got promoted to sergeant, spent about 4 years as a patrol sergeant on a shift. Got promoted to lieutenant, spent 4 to 5 years on the street as a patrol lieutenant in charge of a shift, 21 officers at the time and 3 supervisors. And then I went to my last stop prior to making the chief's job was in the Detective Bureau, where I had 21 detectives, 3 sergeants, narcotics unit, internal affairs, and also wore the hat as the SWAT commander for 14 years, spent 26 years on the team.
Now, what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about SWAT, and again, it's just kind of a refresher, and the achievements of Hamilton's SWAT team, because it's pretty impressive.
Well, it is. I mean, I don't even know where to start with that. It's just an outstanding group of people that do a great job. They're highly motivated. We probably got started off on the right foot. When I took over, I just had a passion for it, and so I really tried to seek out the best of the best. And as you know, and we've talked before, we've brought the Los Angeles Police Department here for probably the past 20 years to instruct, and we've kind of bought into their entire concept. And I think that's a huge part of it, but quite frankly, it comes down to personnel. And we've just got outstanding people. When I started the team, when I got on the team in 1986, we only had 12 people, but again, it was, in my opinion, it was the best of the best. And where we've come from there to now, where we have a consolidation with Fairfield Police Department. We do their calls for service. We've teamed up with Miami University, and what that's produced is a larger team, but the skill level is still tremendous.
And when you were on the show last, I think of course, I'm kind of catching you unprepared, but I think what we did is you guys brought a large contingent of SWAT teams for some kind of games, if you will, some kind of competition.
We did.
Wasn't it?
We had the Ohio Tactical Officers Convention was here in Hamilton a couple of years ago, and you know, we'd like to bring that back. I think it was good for the local businesses and the economy. It brought in a couple hundred officers for 3 or 4 days at the Marriott, and
Little economic development boost.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, and I know the video we had of that was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Looked
it was
like
good
a lot of fun.
Good time.
A little tough. Well, what have been some of your first steps as chief?
Just taking an overall look at the organization. We have so many new officers. We went from, in 2007, there was actually a couple of weeks we had 128 officers. We now have 104. We lost 16 civilians, so trying to deal with that, maybe realign the department. We've looked at all that. The very first thing we did is took a look at our mission statement. And I don't think a lot of guys really could repeat the mission statement to you. I think it was, you know, a couple paragraphs, about a paragraph. We shortened it up to one line: provide exceptional police service for a better Hamilton. And I think the officers have done just a phenomenal job buying into that. They all know what it is. We discuss it in service, and I think we're seeing some dividends from that in the business districts. But I think that's the first thing that we did is just took a look at the mission statement and how we do business.
Well, you know, I know it's cliche anymore, I guess, to say everybody's doing more with less, and I guess with the general fund situation, that's, you know, just as true for the, you know, HPD.
It is. I don't really like that phrase. I think, quite frankly, it's a new normal.
Yeah, it seems to be
for us. I mean, I don't think we're going to get back to those days when we had 128 police officers. So we need to work smarter. Some of the things that we're looking at is realigning our districts. We have 7 out of our 9 command officers that are brand new. They have less than a year's experience. And so change for us, and change when you lose that many people, happens every day. So I mean, it's something that, you know, a lot of people are afraid of change, but quite frankly, it's a way of life for us. We have to change. Having a fresh set of eyes, you know, all these guys in new positions that we look at things and ask, why are we doing it like that? And maybe a few years ago you would have said, well, that's just because that's the way we always do it.
Oh yeah.
But that's not acceptable, and we really have to work smarter. An example that we were looking at the other day is we're looking at fine-tuning our districts. We have 11 police districts currently. We're doing some intelligence-led policing stuff where we look at our calls for service, we look at the geographical area that those officers are working in, and we're looking at maybe a realignment because we have lost significant numbers. So realignment seems like the thing to do. When we got to looking into it to figure out how our districts were broken down, we just accidentally found out that it was based on the census survey that was done 50 years ago. So when you find things like that and you kind of wonder, you know, why are we doing it like that? And then you realize it really had nothing to do with calls for service or violent crime or anything. It was just, you know, piggybacking on the Census Bureau.
Right.
So a lot of that stuff's coming to light, and all positive changes.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the initiatives you're working on for the businesses and the neighborhoods.
Well, we lost our downtown officer, Jeff Eck. Actually, he retired, but we didn't have the people to backfill that position. Okay. So we have, it goes back to, I think, our mission statement, telling officers that, you know, we have to do more with less. We have to provide you know, the service to the citizens that they're used to when they had 128 officers, which is challenging to say the least. But the officers themselves, what we're doing for the business district right now is when you're not on a call and you're working the downtown area, get out of your car, walk into the businesses. When we have extra people on the shift, we're putting someone up here where normally we may have sent someone out to serve warrants. We've got so many warrants on file that we may have a warrant car or a city backup car. Now we're sending that extra officer to the business district. Doing the same thing with schools. Unfortunately, we've had to backfill the shifts to answer calls for service, and we had to pull out. Our school resource officers are gone, our DARE officers are gone, grade officers are gone. And with Sandy Hook and the tragedies that have taken place, we've taken we want to get an officer into the schools as much as we can. So those officers that are working those beats are stopping by the schools in between calls, just going out of service for 5 or 10 minutes.
Just to keep up a presence.
Absolutely, and the schools love it. The businesses, I think it's going really well. I mean, it's to the point that they may see a different officer each day, so we're trying to work with that a little bit because, you know, you don't want to, I work first shift and I stop in and see you and I ask you what the problem is and you tell me, and then tomorrow you get a different officer that's really not familiar with, you know, it kind of makes us look like we don't have it. So we've got a new way that we're logging that information into the computers where I can go by and say, hey, last week you talked about having some problems with some panhandling. Has that been taken care of? And I think that the businesses will see a huge, I know for a fact they've seen a big difference. And ultimately, when our reorganization, when we get that finished, we hope to be able to put somebody back in the business district to take care of the amphitheater and the hotel and things that are vitally important to the success of Hamilton.
Yeah, we've got a number of projects that have you know, really filled in around here with the mercantile loss. We've got more people around. So.
A lot of positive stuff going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know we couldn't get a lot of time with you today, obviously, but you know, just kind of the last question, I always give everybody the opportunity to maybe talk right into the camera, right to our viewers, and give them some final thoughts if you want.
Well, first off, I took over an outstanding organization, 139th accredited agency in the country. It's great that we have a new command staff with a fresh set of eyes, but I think it's really important to note that we're taking over a great organization. The commitment from the officers, I think a lot of times you don't hear all the good things that they do. We've got an outstanding group of people that are totally dedicated to providing exceptional police service for a better Hamilton. And I think when you think about the city's phrase of a place to live, work, and play, we realize that we play a strategic role in that. And I can tell you that the organization, the officers, believe in that, and we will do our best to provide that exceptional service to the citizens on a daily basis.
Great. Well, Scott, thanks for coming in today. We really appreciate it. And before I close, I'd just like to offer some personal thoughts to those of you who have offered kind words of support and prayers. When I announced my battle with prostate cancer back in August 2012, at the time I did that show with Health Commissioner Kay Farrar, I had been just 5 months post-op from my March 2012 surgery, and on that particular day had only had my 4th radiation treatment. Well, I'm pleased to say that I completed all 33 treatments on October 11th of last year, and blood tests so far have been a little inconclusive, but I remain hopeful. But I just wanted to express to you my heartfelt thanks. And as always, with all the viewing choices you have on television today, we want to thank you for watching TV Hamilton, hometown television with a personal touch. And from all of us here at CityVision, thanks for watching.